What
Yeah.
if?
All right, mate. I think one of my favorite questions as of late, mainly because I'm fascinated by it, right? What are you trying to
hmm
find?
What am I trying to find? Oh, myself was the first thing that comes to my mind. I feel like for me, it's the wanting to be the best of me, best version of me. And I know we hear that all the time, but I was actually having this conversation the other day. I always like to walk into a room and know that out of the majority there, I'm the best at something or better at someone than something. And it's yes, I'm a winner, but for me, it's like what skill can I learn? So I'm always one step ahead. And that just comes from, failure from my past. So
Yeah.
yeah, finding me and being better. Long
Do you,
answer.
do you think that's a competitive thing to always wanting to one up someone, or do you think that's a driver of progress?
Oh, it's not essentially one up, not to one up someone, but to have a skill that's really good. And it's more so the indirect way of teaching someone. So, wow, if she can do something like that, that motivates me to want to be better. It's not like, hey, I win, haha. Man, back in the day, fair call back at, when I was younger, it was very ego driven, not ego driven, but like I'm competitive, I gotta win and I gotta be the best. Now it's like, cool, well, I can do something really cool. How about you step into something that you might be fearful of and be better? And that's my angle when I'm in a room.
So why do you want to pull people up?
Because there's always been a lot of judgment with me. I guess, well, with the way that I look. And it's not like I'm anything hectic, but now it's like she's full of tattoos and she's got big boobs and I'm very peacocky. So I'm very loud wherever I walk into. And it's almost like people just have an assumption and we can't help that. Like I know that I'm looking at people and we judge. People say they
Yeah.
don't, but we do.
Yeah.
Whether or not we're voicing it actually, but we always do. So it's like, hey, she can look like that with my perception of maybe I'm feeling a little insecure about XYZ, but she's actually cool. And now she's changed my view on that. La 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 la. And that's kind of my angle. So the one up thing, yeah, it just doesn't sit with me.
Oh, mate, fuck. I didn't mean it for any prodding and poking in
Oh,
ribs.
yeah. Sorry, and I shouldn't have ended with it doesn't sit with me. It's like it would seem that way because it is kind of competitive, but yeah, it's I guess perspective on the one up thing.
No, I get it on terms of teaching and trying to tackle prejudice. I really understand that, mate. Like, especially from back home, being blue collar and you know,
Yeah.
accent's a little weird, and people are like, "What's that? Is that English?" I was like, "Yes, it's actually from fucking England."
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you speak over there, but whatever. It gets a little funky, right? And there's all these. I think about it quite regularly, probably too much, but we like to be placed in boxes, whether that's us putting ourselves in there or we put someone else in there, right?
Mhm.
And we really need to realize there's no lid on that thing. And all you can do is you just stand up and then you step out of that motherfucker and then you go do your thing, right? You walk your own path. And we think about it as a cage. I was like, yeah, okay, you're in a cage, but it's locked from the inside and you can
Mhm.
get out of that, and you can also stop putting somebody else in it, and I think it's
Yeah.
great. I think that teaching aspect is really good and tackling the prejudice because you're not only for I don't want to say you force enlightenment on someone or you force teachings or lessons or anything, but it's just like,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? There might be another side. And like if you still think I'm a cunt, no problem, mate.
Yeah.
But I'm still
Yeah.
gonna do this.
That's and I've done sales for my whole life. So managed sales, managed gyms, taught sales. I mean, life is selling, right? You're selling yourself essentially in any business that you do, whether you're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur or working anywhere. And what I found what I've realized more recently is that, I love selling, but in the least pushy way possible. And it's because every human has a choice, whether you want to step up and be better. You can't be forced. You can't be forced to do anything. So me doing what I'm doing is essentially just see like you're separating the people that want to choose to be better or the ones that want to sit in their shit and do nothing.
Yeah.
And then they choose to step in and then they go, oh, cool. Oh, and then it kind of moves into what else do you do? What else do you do? Okay, so I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm a former personal trainer. I'm in this space of, hosting and doing all these events. And then they go, oh, cool. I want to learn more. And then we can talk about maybe all the other things if they want me to coach them or whatever. But it's like, I love doing this thing where I'm just going, hey, come, I'm inviting you in. Who are you? Let's do it. Based on what I want to be the best at. Because it's like, if I had a blowhorn and I walked into a room and I was like, everyone would go, holy shit, they'd look at me, right? Or if I just go in and be me confidently and then do something maybe a little bit cool or whatever it is, I'm just, I'm thinking of the splits because I've been learning to do the splits, and now I do that everywhere. And you would, if you've seen my stories when I was in Bali, I was just ripping them out everywhere. And everyone was like, oh my Lord, I've got the champagne bottle and I'm doing the splits. And I'm like, what? So, like things like that. And then it sparks the conversation. So I love fun and bringing entertainment, and then also inviting people in to maybe have something a little bit more of a serious chat. So back in the day, when you're selling something, you kind of like, you do the sales process. You're like, this is it's the legalities behind this. And it's very like, do. And I don't like that. I mean, it has a purpose, of course.
Yeah.
But where I'm at now, it's like, I've moved through that process, and now I'm testing this theory, and it's working so far. So
One of my favorite movies is Coach Carter, right? And at the end, it says, as we let our own light shine, it unconsciously gives other people permission to do the same as they're liberated from their own fear. And I think that you basically encapsulate that. I think that's a really beautiful example of it, of, hey, I'm an open book, right? It's up to you whether you read it or not. You can fucking walk off, no problem. But it's going to be there. And it's going to be there to hopefully plant a seed that then you're going to go water. You now know where the water is, and the horse can go back to that bad boy.
that's
And I think
exactly
it's
right.
trying to build everybody up rather than trying to tear everyone down and be the only one left standing. It's a bit of a miserable way of existing.
It really is. And, look, we all serve a purpose as well. We all do. There are the ones that are meant to work the 9 to 5. There are some people that are meant to be electricians and coaches and all the things, right? And, we often, I know we're just jumping into another angle, but it all makes sense. It's like, I'm choosing to do what I do because I love it. And then, people go, oh, maybe I need to be an entrepreneur. Maybe I need to have a passion. Maybe I need to do this. And you don't, it's just, the goal is to be happy. And the goal is to understand that we all have a purpose and a place. We just don't have to meet the Joneses or do what everyone else is doing. It's just about finding who you are. And that's what I do with my coaching, is I show people how to be the best versions of themselves, however that looks, based on what I'm doing with my life as well.
The goal is to do your thing, man.
Yeah, man. Imagine we had to call Telstra. Well, Telstra in Australia, Telstra's everywhere, and there was no one to talk to on the phone. Who's working 9 to 5? Do you know what I mean? We can't all just quit our jobs tomorrow and do nothing. There has to be a means, and there is always something that makes you happy, and that just could be painting on the weekends, and you just haven't done it in a while. So tangent. I'm going on a tangent now.
Oh, mate, you open up that can of worms and jump in that rabbit hole. That's all good.
We're in. I love rabbit holes. And then I'm like, where did this conversation start again? From doing the splits.
I just talk shit, mate. I really want to be able to do the splits one day.
Hey, you're a coach. Obviously, I've seen that. And I love watching your little structured your stories that you post sometime. I'm like, oh yeah, you actually motivated me to want to start deadlifting back here, or not back here, while I'm in Harvey Bay, because I was like, I used to do strength training. And I'm quite strong, and I haven't done deadlifts in ages, and that's my favorite exercise. And seeing your structure, I was like, all right, Ree, come on, get into it. But my body's still recovering. I was going to do it on the weekend, but hey, I stacked it in Bali on the ATV, and I went over the handlebars. So my hand is actually still swollen at the moment. I probably need to get it X-rayed. So gripping the bar, I know that's me just pushing the limits.
I'm just hearing some excuses here, mate.
You're right. Hey,
I'm fucking with
all right, I'm gonna go do a deadlift right now.
All right, pause, guys.
You go try
Be back in a minute. Yeah, mate, I'll do it. I can get there on a hot day, but it's
on a hot day. I thought you said on a hot date. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
No, I can get there on a hot day, but I'm pretty fucking far away. Do it in the sauna, yeah. Can you imagine? What the fuck is this fucking albino kid doing? It's like, I can get there, guys. Just sit on my back. Like, I'm getting there.
Please push me down.
Yeah.
Done.
Nah, weights just keeps me balanced, man. And I think we all need to find that thing whether that's, you know, journaling, writing, fucking partying, dancing, whatever it is. Just find something that keeps you balanced. And we should probably use this organic shell that we're bound to. You know, like if we don't, it's going to decay, and that's probably not going to be a good thing. So let's get up and move around, whether you're just swinging your arms about and getting a sweat on, doing yoga, or like going for maximal load and putting it above your head and calling it fun. It doesn't really fucking matter what it is. Just do something with it, right? And then I think we also need to sit down and find out who the fuck we are, mate. You know, I think there's so many people out there that doesn't have a fucking clue who we are, as in ourself, oneself, me and me, you and you. You know, a lot of us, we look in the mirror and we're like, we have no idea who that is.
Yeah, and it's so prevalent. And I know, just listening to you say that, the amount of people that I've met and the whole organic thing about wanting someone to step in, I trust me, I've gone through waves, especially this year, of like, what am I doing? What do I want to do? What do I want to continue with my work? You know, I love learning all these skills and taking them on and then moving forward, right? Changing it up, mixing it up. And the human experiences, again, comes back to choice and the power of, how can I be better today? So you've got two options. You either sit in your shit, you sink or swim, right? Are you going to sink or are you going to swim? And it doesn't matter what you do, you always have to continue moving forward. So, you know, there are some things that I see in people, and I'm like, just ask yourself the question, how can I be better? And that's how it starts. How can I be better? And then you think about it and you go, cool, all right, well, let's try to mitigate that. But people choose not to. And people get caught up in so much propaganda and all the things that are going on. It's actually, life is so simple. Exactly like you just said. How do I learn more about me? Well, you see people getting in and out of relationships because they're too scared to be alone. There's so much of that going on. And yeah, like I said, the simplicity of just learning about ourselves is, well, it's so simple. Why aren't more people doing it?
Because it's hard. It's not easy,
Is it?
right? I think so. I think a lot of people like to bury their head in the sand and ignore their own shit. You know, acknowledging that, oh, I'm a dick. I've been an absolute cunt. You know, like I was wrong. You know, that is difficult. It's actually very simple and very easy, but it's your ego that comes involved. And for a lot of people, they find that very hard. Just like, oh, I'm sorry, I fucked up. You know, for a lot of people, that's the hardest thing to do. And I'm like, well, that I would argue that it's necessary. It's not only a good thing to do, it is fucking necessary.
It's okay. This is gonna really in that subject at the moment. So if I get a client come to me, they go, I want to quit smoking, and I'm like, great, I can definitely help you with that. The process of getting someone to quit smoking starts back to when they started smoking or why. There's always a beginning to something, right? So there is so many people are putting band-aids on their problems to go, cool. Well, yeah. When I said to you, is it though? Is it hard? I mean, people say it is, but people choose to go external versus internal.
Yeah.
So the external thing, oh, let's look after this, or let's get back into that relationship, or let's change jobs, or let's move, because doing that seems easier than just going, hey, I'm wrong. Oh, okay, cool. I need to work on me. I need to love me more, right? And that's the simplicity of it. And actually, when you're in any situation, you go, am I happy? The simple question, am I happy? No, I'm not. Cool. How do I be happier? I don't want to do this job anymore. What do I need to do? That's it. Instead of then going, okay, cool, turning to alcoholism or whatever it is, well, whatever the thing is, it's always external. So referring back to internal is where that's the easy part. Because I don't know you better than you know you. You don't know me better than I know me. But yeah, we're always, I used to do this too. I remember I was trying to leave my ex-boyfriend. We're together 7 years. He's a great man. We have a great relationship now. I've been single almost 6 years now. And the 3 years prior to me breaking up with him, I must have seen at least 10 psychics. Because every time I went into a psychic, I just wanted them to tell me, break up with him. I wanted someone else to tell me to break up with him. Like, what the fuck? Like, how, if I'm not happy, leave. Why do I need someone else to tell me to leave? It's when I look back at that now, who I am, and it's taken my journey, especially obviously in the last 6 years, to really be comfortable in me and know that I'll leave things or just drop things like that if I'm not happy and if it's not being met. Not like I'm just going to be a bitch and go, no, you're not for me. If it's worth working on, then I'll definitely do that. But my happiness and my freedom and my love, my self-love is way more important than anyone else in the least selfish way. Like it's selfish, but I'm able to give more to people that deserve it. And I always come first, whereas before it was always everyone else. And I actually, even coming back from Bali, I gave a lot of energy to people, and then people assume that my energy is always there. And it's like you actually have to create boundaries and allocate time for certain people, but everything's just so messy for people. And I know I'm waffling into all these spaces right now, but the simplicity of where it always starts is us and the love for us. And that's it. And that's why I say, is it really that hard to just go, hey, how can I be happy?
Why do you think people find it so hard?
Because if I said to you, Alex, explain this pen, right? And you would go, not sell the pen, explain the pen. We all know.
Yeah.
So explain the pen, you could. You go, yeah, it's black. It's got 3 silver lines on it. It's got it's probably a twist top. It's black. And I'll go, cool, that's exactly right. But if I said, explain to me what your heart's doing right now, how you're feeling, you wouldn't. You'd maybe stumble. You could after a certain amount of time, but not as quick as explaining the pen. So anything that's external, people go, oh, that's way easier. So for an example is if you and I were going to date and I had an issue with me that I hadn't targeted it yet, and I seen that in you, I'd want to fix you because it's easier to fix someone else than it is myself.
For sure.
And that's all people are doing. And essentially they're like, yeah, but if I fix you, I'm doing my due diligence in life and I'm being good. And there are certain spaces that you can actually reflect off learning from one another. But what can happen is that you're essentially not helping you. And when you fixed the thing in someone else, there's always something else. So then you're creating a space that hasn't started from a level ground. So yeah, it's easier to explain something external than it is internal. And that's why.
People like to run away from themselves, right?
I mean, running away from anything, fear is scary.
That's what this country has taught me. Spend a lot of time in nature, spend a lot of time alone. You cast out questions. I think kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy of the answer to the universe is 43. Is it 42, 43? One of the two.
No, that's news to me.
Oh, so whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah,
But basically, we know the answer, but what is the right question to ask? And I kind of subscribe to that school of thought of like, okay, if the answer is me and the answer is life and the universe and everything around, it's all out here because with or without me, it's fucking working anyway. Snap our fingers, we disappear. It's gonna bloody work. So the answer's there. It's working. So what's the right question to ask it? And I like to do it in nature. I go on and just sit at the ocean, the beach, whatever, the fucking forest, hike up a bloody mountain, and you come up with the right question, and you're like, okay, here we go. Here's another layer, and that's also why I like something physical, and that's why I think people need to do something physical, because physical adversity peels back a layer, and now we're a little bit more vulnerable with ourselves. When you get some athletes come in and they're not doing too great, like pretty on the verge. You're like, okay, you take them through something. Depending on their situation, sometimes you don't punch them all the way in the face, but you take them through something, and then you give them a journal and a pen at the end, and you give them 15 minutes, and you basically leave them. And the stuff they come out with at the end, just because they've dropped that barrier to themselves, like, I don't have to read it. We don't have to read it. If they want to share it, they can share it. And I think that's really necessary to ask those questions of yourself, right? But a lot of people don't. And I think that part is hard. I think it's hard because it's uncomfortable. It's actually not. It's very simple. it's only hard because it's uncomfortable, right? And I got this saying of life's not complicated, it's just hard. But people aren't hard, they're just complicated.
That's hit the nail on the head, 100%. You know that I had a client who got a journal and she didn't know how to write. She felt embarrassed to even write in a journal because
Oh,
the
man.
words she was looking at, she was like, I can't even talk to myself because I
Yeah.
feel like an idiot, right? And it's so common. It's so common, and you're so right with moving and going to the gym. I think everyone should do it. They
Yeah.
don't have to go in and smash weights and go lift heavy, but you need to move your body and you need to be better. You know, for me, it's like if my body's not functioning right, then everything else in my life doesn't really work itself out. It always starts in the body because this is my human shell. And if I'm not moving correctly or if I'm sore, then I'm going to be less efficient in all the things that I do. And we know that when you train, beating that, brain-derived neurotrophic factors released when we're doing high-impact workouts, or getting our bodies sweaty. You got norepinephrine, which is going to make us feel really good. All these feel-good hormones, which the endorphins, all that stuff. It's real. And in fact, when we're going in, it's just building resilience and coming back to ourselves, like you said, sitting in nature and asking those questions. That's so important. But then a lot of people do that, but then they don't take action.
Mm.
So they don't take action in the things that they're learning. So everyone knows the answers. Everyone. They do. It's not like I even said to my clients, sometimes I'm not coaching you on anything you don't know. I'm just asking you the question and I'm making you be brave right now and tell me. And I say it with aggression, but it's love. It's like passion. It's not it's a passion that sounds aggressive sometimes. I'm just like, live up, come on, stop, just step into this. Let's go, right? Because if you're sitting there and listening to those or asking the questions and you're not taking actions, no one's going to know. So having a coach at the gym is important. Having a coach, a mindset coach, is also important, but it's not something that has to be done forever. And you know this, and I can't speak on behalf of you, but when I was a coach, I was always coaching them to be able to do it on their own,
Yep.
because you don't want to take someone. I mean, it's like, hey, if you want me to coach you for the rest of your life, however long I'm doing it, I'm gonna do it for you. But I don't want to, and I'm not gonna take your money. I want you to step in and do this on your own, right? So yeah, there's so many aspects, but the gym for me, or moving in some form of way, is fucking important. So important.
I think our job becomes teachers, lead a horse to water. Hey,
Yeah,
here's the water. But I gotta go back and find some more horses because there's a lot of other people that want to hold my hand. And there's a
yeah,
lot of other people that are now in a worse spot than when I found you. So it's like, okay, well, when you found me, and it's like, well, I gotta go help these folk. So
yeah,
you are good now. Now you come to me with a question, and now I come to you with a question, and you end up
yeah.
coming up with the answer. I was like, well, why don't you go try that? So it becomes less of a dictator and more of a facilitator of how about we figure this out together? So then
Yeah,
one day when I leave, you're not going to be like hung and dry and be like, shit, what do I do now? Al's gone. It's like, oh, I can kind of figure it out. He's at least taught me some sort of ropes. So I'm not completely dependent upon someone else. We have now gained some
100%.
maturity.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like how nice that they still come back to you and maybe ask the question. Or I have clients that maybe come back and see me in 2 months' time because they're like, oh, all right, I needed a refresher, or maybe I steered off track and I just want to come back, right? And how brave is that for them to even go, cool, I'm dropping my ego, I'm going to ask the question again, something that I don't know. And that's growth right there,
Mm.
because a lot of people don't ask for help. And I think that's, people need to step into that and be brave to even go, hey, I need some assistance right now. Because if you're not taking that step, whether you're listening to books or podcasts or, doing something to better yourself, then you do need help. How do you want to be better? Like, yeah. So I'm looking at the recording. Is this going to finish soon?
Oh, it kicks me out of 40 minutes, unfortunately,
Oh, cool, cool, cool. Yeah.
because Zoom wants pennies out of me, and I tell them to go fuck themselves.
How dare you, Zoom? I know.
Mate, that's also a testament to yourself, though, because you've created the environment in which people can come back to, and it's open. It's not
Mm,
like, all right, I am the fucking messiah, and you come to me and give you $. It's like, like, yeah, sure, I can help you out, no problem, and then go off into the world. Let's go figure it out. And guess what? The home nest is always here. You know, it might have to change locations every once in a while, but the internet is a beautiful thing. You know, you can just flick me an email and I might get to it in 2 months' time, but I'll fucking get to it. You know, like
Yeah.
it's like, oh hey, how you doing? What's going on? Like, yeah, you can then become like colleagues in a way, like arm in arm, rather than like me trying to pull you up. It's like we're on the same
Yeah.
wavelength, same stool. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a really beautiful thing, mate.
Yeah, thank you. And I have had a lot of clients, not a lot, but a few that have gone into the coaching space after, whether it was PT coaching sessions or, the mindset stuff. They want to learn more. They're like, wow, this is something that I really want to take on board. And how inspiring is that? That you're now, whoever you've coached, now wants to learn or be in the space that you're in as well. So yeah, I just love this whole roundabout way. And I think at the end of the day, we're all humans, right? I'm not very I'm sure you're not either. There
Fuck
are
no,
days that I
mate.
have slip ups. Exactly. But I think the difference I can speak on behalf of myself is that I always choose to swim. And even on the days that I might be sinking, that I feel like, oh, damn, I'm doing this, I'm always going, how, just do something. So for me, it is, I got to take myself to the gym. So, when I was talking about deadlifts at the start of this, I was like, and you were like, that sounds like an excuse. And you're right, it is an excuse, but in a way it's like I know that I want to, but I know that I'm only moving my body at the moment because I'm unwell, and I'm still moving and I'm going, and I don't need to go be the hero. And you know why? This is the competitive side of me. It's a new gym. I want to go in there and show everyone how strong I am. And I really, shut the fuck up. What are you doing? Like, don't mean it. You don't have to go in there and prove a point, right? And I laugh at myself and I go, cool. All right. So just move your body. And then maybe next week when you're feeling ready, you can start deadlifting. So it wasn't an excuse. I just was like, maybe. Listen to me
If you
going,
keep if
shit,
you keep bringing it up, I'll keep poking that bear, man.
poke the bear. Start I'll go deadlift. This
Next
is
thing you
why I
know,
need
we
great
got a
conversation.
deadlift. We got a deadlift competition going on.
Wait, it's on. Okay, don't ask me to be. I'm gonna hold you to this now. This little deadlift competition.
Mate, I'm in.
Done.
You send me coordinates, I'll be there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in.
All right, you need
Bring
to
some
leave.
caffeine.
Oh, hello. Yeah, let's go. This is my third coffee this morning and pre-workout. I'm buzzing.
Yeah, talk about fucking caffeine consumption is through the roof, mate. You know what I mean? Like, you opened me up and it was a bit of blood. It's 70% caffeine, but hey,
Absolutely.
it's less
Yeah.
than Coke, so that's all that
This
matters.
is true. This is true. Oh my Lord, it's less.
And it lasts a little bit longer, so that's good.
That's exactly right. That's
Mate,
exactly right.
I got three questions.
Yes.
Seems like you wanted to prepare for them, though.
Pardon?
It seems like you wanted to prepare for them, though.
I was like, well, no, because I remember you shot them to me a little while ago, and I was like, oh, you're right. I like to be prepared, but I was like, I didn't write my answers down. I just wrote them down.
So,
But
so sometimes I don't tell people. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna chuck you under the bus and see what happens.
you can even change them up if you like. I'll think quick.
No, it's all good. Like, what's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
It's funny because I had to sit with this one, right? And the first thing that came to my mind was just do something every day that's 1% better than yesterday. And I've lived by that. And that kind of, for me, is the sink or swim analogy. Always move forward, always keep trying to be better. And it doesn't have to be anything like the bells and whistles. It just means doing something that's going to get your mind into a better
Yeah,
headspace.
dig holes, man.
Mm,
Every day, go outside, take a teaspoon, take a bit of dirt, and put it from A to B.
absolutely.
It'll take a while, but one day you'll
Yeah,
dig a hole.
that's exactly right. 100%. Bring on that hole.
What's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
I don't I don't think nothing springs to mind, but the thing that I thought about was just the pessimists of the world, the negative people.
Yeah.
Because I learned from that. I go, I never want to be like that. I never want to sit in my shit, and I never want to be a always me and play victim. So it's not like someone's told me to play victim. I see people playing victim, and that for me is the worst advice that anyone could ever do. In a way, because you're showing people that playing victim is okay.
Yeah, physical advice rather than verbal. Yeah, I agree. I get
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
What about the three words you would tell your younger self?
3 words. I think I just want to hug her. I honestly would just want to hug her.
Ah, man.
Squeeze her so tight. Yeah, so I tell her that, love is beautiful, and
Mm.
you are loved, and you are brave. Because I always was brave, but it was never it was always an external brave versus an internal brave, which I think there was always a roundabout way of that. But little Riri needs a big hug, and I actually often go back to little Riri and I hug her, not every week, but when I'm sitting there, sometimes I remind myself that, yeah, it's just love. She's there, and she likes to
Motherfucker's
play.
gonna make me cry, man.
Yeah,
Love is
for real.
beautiful. I think so
Love is,
too, man. You
yeah.
know, that's one of the most beautiful things or the biggest thing I've taken away from doing this thing. You know, this thing started out of desperation. I will be wholeheartedly put my hands up and say that. Um, and it's shown me there's more similarities within people than there are differences. And there is a fuck ton of differences, right? There is a lot, but there's way more similarities. And leading with, you know what? I'm just gonna love this person because they're still breathing. And we might not even cross paths, nor give a shit about one another or whatever, who the fuck they are, who the fuck I am. It's like there's way more similarities. People are innately good, and life's beautiful.
They are. And perception's projection. So if you're giving love,
Mm.
people are going to want to give love back. And that's ties back to the very thing that we started to talk about. When I walk into a room and I do my jam, it's just showing love
Mm.
and letting love come back. That's it. Love is natural. Default.
Right. Thank you so much, man. This has been an honor
Thank
and a
you.
privilege.
Yeah, what a good conversation.
I
I'm
appreciate
buzzing.
appreciate your time, appreciate your perspective, your story, the path you took to get here, and a little bit of shit chat with some fucking
Hey.
weird sounding guy on the internet, mate. It's a strange thing, but I but I appreciate it, mate.
Oh, I love this. Yeah, no, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm honored. I'm honored that you had me on board. So yeah.
Right. Pull up a chair whenever you want. You can fucking sing from the heavens and it'll be heard, mate. You know, like you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you. We'll bring on the deadlifts. Let's go.
Mate, it's on. You set the challenge. I'm in. You've been talking a lot of shit now. You
You're
better put
right.
your money
You're
where your
right.
mouth is.
All right, I'm gonna do it this week. You watch. You watch on the gram.
Just
I'm
don't
gonna deadlift.
just don't injure
Happening.
yourself. All right,
Thank you so
so
much.
you have a great day, mate.
Yeah, you too.
Take it easy.
See you.
Speak soon. See you later,
Bye.
everybody.